we were talking about summer and kind of this feeling of like guilt of like, you know, should we be working? Should we be enjoying ourselves, living in the moment? So why don't we just kind of open it up and just kind of continue that to start it off?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't about either or. It was just yesterday I went out to the beach and had a little workout and took some time to myself. Bones, walked, 10 miles, whatever. And I remember I went to, spend some time over at my girls, hang out with the dog. And I got off work early, blah, blah, blah. I texted Matt being like, hey, tomorrow I'll come by the studio and I'll finish this and I'll do this and I'll do this. And he texted me, he's like, no, it's no worries, man. Don't worry. And we just got into this conversation about how every now and then I have a weird relationship with guilt and shame, and I feel like it affects different pockets of my life in different ways. But the way it affects Bonelang or like my work is that sometimes I feel guilt and shame if I'm not like ground and pound in the basement, putting my hours in, like convinced your dreams are never going to come true if you're not working. And it's this very like Western mentality of work.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to alleviate some of that, and dissect some of that. It's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. Matt and I were talking right before you got here about how these things don't you have to work hard, but they don't happen like linearly. It's like they kind of happen in steps, is what Matt was saying. And it's like, just because you're working harder doesn't necessarily mean that you're like furthering yourself.
Something we didn't get to when we were talking earlier is like, I always think about how a lot of the shame that we feel is because like you texted me being like basically giving me your to-do list.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm not in the studio, but I'm going to get this, and this done.
Yeah.
And it's part of the shame is whatever shame you would have, your self-inflicted shame.
Yeah.
But some of it is also you're imagining my response to you not being in the studio.
Being
and
like,
my response is
like, yeah, buddy.
Whatever. I guess,
Yeah.
So you're like
doing
projecting.
something better today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we had a similar thing where we are up for a tour in a few weeks, and I also have a really big project over the summer that I'm working on. And so Sam knew that we might get offered this tour, and then you came home and you were like, could you make this work with your schedule? And I was like, yes. And you're like, okay, well, in my head, this was this whole thing where I was going to come tell you we had this tour, and then you were going to say you couldn't do it, and then I was going to be upset that you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And you were going to be some type of way because I was upset. And like, that's such a bizarre psychological labyrinth to like dig yourself into.
Yeah.
And I do it. That just happens to be a handy example. I do this.
This
This isn't your psychosis. This is our codependent psychosis.
Yeah. We just want to look, we're both so committed to the thing.
Yeah.
And we both work really hard. And I mean, truly, it's a true like 50-50 fucking split. Somebody, if one of us isn't down here, the other one is. And so sometimes if I like take a few days, I'm just like, I feel like I'm not upholding my end of the 50-50 bargain, There's like this really concise yet not so concise division of labor. And we're both so committed that it's just like this psychological cloud that hangs over us, being like, someone's got to be, who's doing what? Somebody hit somebody. Somebody fucking better be working. You know what I mean? And it's just not true. It's just not. It's just something that we've created, and it's just not real. And I feel the tide turning, man. I think it's because we can actually feel more people are streaming our music lately. We just got off a great tour in March. It was March and April. Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago now. March and April, and the morale was real high between us and the boys, and we got a new manager, and we got a new all this kind of, and we were like, all right, bro. We look at like our data and stuff. We're like, okay, all right.
Our data.
It's just gonna, what I mean?
Look at our data.
It's unbelievable how much of this, people don't tell you that how much of this shit is the anxiety line. That's good. People don't tell you how much of this job is like data analysis. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But like we can feel the needle moving, and we're like, all right, It's going to happen when it happens. We have years worth of great work in front of us.
Yeah.
And, or, you know, we're years ahead of ourselves and with our work. And we're like, all right, we've been in this studio for like 6 summers and like have never gone out. You know what I mean? Like the most beautiful days of the year have come and gone with us just like lost on here, which is great in that we work hard, but maybe not so great in that maybe we're not enjoying every aspect of our life. And this doesn't need to be this thing that 100% absorbs every facet of your being and so on and so forth without you being truly dedicated. It's still, you're not less dedicated because you like went to the beach with your friends. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, it's ridiculous.
And yeah, Sam was saying September always rolls around and you get the like weird first gusts of fall where it gets like rainy and cold for one day and like windy and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I think I missed the summer. I didn't spend any time on like a bar
rooftop. We're also
rooftop.
recording this on like a 90-something degree day.
Sunny as fuck.
Blazing, sunny.
We just had to
huge
turn the air
storm
conditioning off,
last
so we're
night
going to be sweatier and sweatier as this goes along.
And that's something about like Chicago. We're here in Chicago, and it's like, you know, there's these 3 months where like, you're right. Like if you're so committed or your head is down working on things, and then you look up and it's like, I missed the greatest 3 months of this city. Like, oh man.
Yeah.